We have 10 minutes, but my suggestion is probably pay attention to his 10 minutes. You're a member, but he hasn't paid me to do that. I think these could save you money, make you money, and potentially defend you from fraud, which is a very common theme of what we do. It's not a very common theme for us to talk about IP addresses. Yet, it's a very common, once you realize that there is so much similarities between what we're talking about, phone numbers or identities today, and IP addresses.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. So fantastic to be here. We're going to tackle today from a different angle. That's IP addresses. And, you know, when you look at the whole IP v4 pool, you can see that there are still 30% of them are completely invisible, meaning that they are not announced. So that actually shows how inefficiently the IP addresses are managed. And the kind of thing that needs to be addressed is basically, you know, a more effective management, and the good thing that they all can be leased.
Okay.
And it's a market that is worth multi-billion dollars. So nobody is still
not talking about it. And we know that some technology will come to it, but so there is a scarcity in terms, just like in phone numbers, there are not enough IP addresses out there, despite, you know, technology trying to do something new about it. So what does it mean for a mobile operator? Let's start to make it, you know, livable for some of the people out there. How can a mobile operator think about this scarcity? Can they make money from it?
Yes, absolutely. You know, when you think about the IP address as expense in your balance sheet, you know, this is one thing. But when you actually think about as the asset, the strategic asset, then actually it comes to enabling other businesses to scale their network. That's one thing. The second thing is that, as I mentioned, quite a few millions, I would say, you know, IP addresses are still unannounced. And for the opportunity, what essentially telcos and mobile operators have to do is basically understand that the management of the IP addresses is not about only their network, but it's also about the economy and environment for the others. When we talk about IPv4 prices, you know, the prices went up around 1,000% from the first deal that actually was a decade ago. And then
let me stop you for a second.
Yeah.
So 1,000% over a decade. That's a lot of money in today's balance sheet, right? So that, and mobile operators, for instance, are sitting on a lot of these IP addresses, and you say they're not announced, so they have them, but they're not using them.
No use, yeah, and that's actually, there are reasons for that, you know, reasons that of a lot of M&A deals, of, you know, outdated policies, of course, the bureaucracy and stuff like that. So these are the things, you know, where we should definitely look for structured leasing options and look for the options how they can enable the IP addresses to be as the potential revenue stream.
So it's a proverbial sofa where you might not notice, but you have a small billion-dollar industry you're sitting on top of that. So if you're an operator, have a look at that. Now, it's interesting to see the other side, because there's not just operators out there. So what does it mean for the smaller players, the one that might not be sitting on huge amounts of numbers, IP addresses?
So what we actually noticed that there is a huge burden for the, you know, new startups or ISPs in emerging markets to actually enter that high cost of IP addresses. So the alternative that we actually found is IP leasing. That actually brings the alternative to a market so that the mobile operators and telcos can monetize the IP addresses while they are dormant. And at the same time, it's a much, much more affordable option for, you know, new startups and ISPs that actually are up there in those emerging markets.
So great. So I did promise the more money, the saving money, I think we cover some of that. If you're sitting on some of those IP addresses, you might be able to lease and make lots of money. If you start doing this leasing, we might reduce the overall big inflation we've seen in costs there. But let me ask you the third one now. What about the abuse? Because we're talking that there is a similarities between the phone number, which we're so familiar with. So what about reputation? We talk about sender ID. We talk of things like that in our. Is that applicable also to what you do?
Yeah, so it's an interesting fact that when we onboard the new IP holders, they always think that their IP addresses are clean, and you know it's not blacklisted or blocklisted, you name it, right? But actually, it's quite opposite, and we always kind of see that you know there are reasons behind this. A lot of mobile operators and telcos don't pay attention to the actual IP abuse. Not sure about, you know, the phone numbers and stuff, you know, where you can actually, you know, execute abuse much more kind of, you know, proactively, I would say, right?
Let's not comment on that right now.
Yeah. But for the IP abuse, it's definitely, you know, a case. And what we say that, you know, we have to develop, you know, the AI-driven platform, and this is what we did to actually maintain the reputation throughout the whole IP leasing cycle so that we could put the IP addresses to the platform, we clean them, and we return them clean. So, and that's also, you know, the thing where we, you know, put ourselves, our reputation and trust at risk if we're not going to do that. Right? So that's the thing where also the companies can offload their compliance burdens, because at the same time, you know, it's very important to kind of understand the 360 view of what is happening with your IP addresses, who you are leasing those IP addresses to, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a very important thing. But the good news that you definitely can monitor and proactively understand how to mitigate the things.
Because we are MEF and ecosystem is what we say about. This is part of the ecosystem. Even if it's an SMS message, it might have one of those IP addresses, and it needs to be hygiene even on that side. You need to manage those. Now, before the time is going to run out very soon, before that, I need to challenge you, as we like to do, because we already know that there is a problem, there is a technology, a possible solution. IPv4 has been around for a long time, but we have already introduced IPv6, which I understand exactly know why it went from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
But the next best thing, and the one that would open lots of IP addresses. So this scarcity is due to finish soon?
The scarcity, I would say, it's not a scarcity. I would say, you know, it's more like the inefficiency.
Inefficiency as well.
Inefficiency. This is like a, you know, scarcity paradox. You know, we say that it's, you know, we are running out of IPv4 addresses, but actually, you know, again, when you look at the whole pool of IP addresses, you see a huge inefficiency waste that actually can be definitely defragmented and monetized. But at the same time, you know, if you look at the IPv6, yeah, that actually was introduced back in 1999, mobile operators and telcos are the most active on adopting it. But the problem is that on the flip side, the other enterprises or even industries don't even think about IPv6. So IPv4 remains to be a crucial resource for the internet ecosystem, and I think that, you know, only us and, you know, us together, we can work on that efficiency, building the opportunities for the new enterprises, and besides, you know, building those opportunities, enabling more IPv4 addresses to the market can also, you know, lead for the extra revenue from your core products as well. Because the companies are growing, the economy is growing, The environment, has the common practice on IP monetization leasing that actually opens the other opportunities too.
We're only running out of time, but I'm still going to ask you one final question.
Sure.
It's a number. How much traffic is, if you want, or traffic or anything similar, is already on IPv6 versus IPv4?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So, when we talk with internet exchanges, we see a lot of IPv6 running around, but if we take the IP transit payload, we only can see 5% of the traffic payload going through IPv6. So IPv4 remains the core resource in the internet, even today.
Even today. So let's manage IPv4 addresses better, more efficiently, and potentially let's keep it clean as well, because it would help the entire ecosystem. We are very much running out of time. So I'll leave to thank you, Vincentas.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations for a new CEO to the IPXO as well.